Hey YouTube, JW. Got another edition of retro knives for you today, and I got a good one. I got one that I've been wanting to get for about 20 years. And it's something that I needed really for my AR-15 anyway. I remember back when I was in junior high, a kid had a buck catalog, and I was looking at that instead of paying attention in class. But I remember seeing the Buck 188, which this is, which is the commercial version of the Phrobis 3 knives that were produced by Buck for Phrobis, which were military issue M9 bayonets, which came out in 1987. And I always wanted it. I saw it, I always wanted one, I never got one. The prices of them now are pretty high. Your standard M9 bayonet Phrobis, there is some in really good shape. There's some that have chevrons on them that are worth a lot of money. This one kind of falls in the middle somewhere. I picked this one up because it was just a display in a sporting goods store and was never used. The guy sent it to me. It was from a sporting goods store from down south, and he said it was just sitting in a box. And from the looks of the blade, I'll slide it in here when there's retentions in here. When you slide this in, it locks that blade into place. You've got retention straps here. There's a strap here. When you pull that out, you can see that oil on the blade. I oiled it because there's like rollers in there that lock the blade into place. But as you can see, this is the Buck. I'm having a hard time seeing that. There we go. Buck 188 slash, which means on the Buck dating codes, this year was 1992 production, which would have been about the time when I was looking at that Buck catalog, and this was in their catalog. They made 28,238 total of the commercial variants. I've seen M9s. I mean, these are available, but I've seen M9 military ones that have come back from Desert Storm and that, which were a lot of them, which where they were first tested really was in the first Gulf War, and they're all beat to hell. But I wanted to get the commercial version, the one that I saw in the book, the one that they had in their catalog at that time, which I didn't have the money to buy, and I never got around to getting until now. As you can see, it comes with your standard military issue stuff. It's just like the M9, just like the Phrobis, only it's basically the exact same knife, just marked. Buck marked it with their commercial markings. Excuse me. I noticed on the back here, Bianchi made the Universal Military Holster, U.S. and Foreign Patent, Bianchi International. So, yeah. This is basically just a M9 Phrobis, just the ones that they decided they were going to sell on the commercial market, and there are many, many more, obviously, military contract versions of this knife. I don't know, there's probably like 500,000, and they did make, I know they initially issued 50 and 60,000. This was a prototype coming from in the 80s of the Buckmaster. knife, if you're familiar with that, and it kind of developed into this knife. I like that big thick blood groove they've got on there, and I always really thought this was a cool looking knife, and I still do. And I'm glad I waited and got this version. Pretty sharp. You know, I don't know what the blade steel is on this. Probably 440, some sort of tool steel. I mean, it is a bayonet. It's meant to be beat up and abused. If anybody knows what the steel is on this, leave it in the comment section below. But yeah, cool knife, awesome retro knife. I'm glad I got it. It can go in the collection now and pass it on to my son. So this has been another edition of Retro Knives, and I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned.